The word neurodivergent is often used to describe people whose brains function differently from what's considered typical. It includes conditions like autism, ADHD, sensory processing disorder, and more. But being neurodivergent isn't just about having a diagnosis. It's also about experiencing the world in a unique, often intense way. And if you've ever met an INFJ or R1, you've probably noticed they don't think or feel like everyone else. INFJs are already known for being rare. They make up just about 1 to 3% of the population. But it's not just their rarity that makes them stand out. It's how they think, how they feel, how they process the world around them. INFJs are deep thinkers, emotional empaths, and visionaries who often feel like they're living on a different wavelength than the rest of society. Many INFJs grow up feeling different, not better, just different. They notice things others don't. They struggle in environments that seem fine to others. They ask questions most people don't think to ask. Their inner world is full of complex thoughts, patterns, and emotional connections that don't always match what's happening on the outside. This kind of experience often lines up with what many neurodivergent individuals go through. It's not about labeling INFJs or putting them in a box. It's about understanding that their brains might simply be wired in a way that's far from average. And with that wiring comes incredible strengths, alongside real challenges. In this video, we're going to break down 6 powerful reasons why INFJs may very well fit into the neurodivergent experience. Whether it's their deep intuition, their emotional intensity, or the way they retreat from overstimulation, these traits give us a better understanding of why INFJs often feel like they don't belong, and why that difference is actually part of their power. Reason 1. Unique cognitive processing. One of the strongest reasons INFJs may be considered neurodivergent is the way their brain processes information. At the core of their personality is something called introverted intuition, or need. This isn't just a way of thinking, it's a totally different way of understanding the world. Most people process information through direct observation, step-by-step thinking, or trial and error. But INFJs don't work that way. Their brain pulls ideas and patterns together behind the scenes. They absorb bits of information over time, things others would overlook, and their mind forms connections that seem to come out of nowhere. It's a mental leap, not a straight line. This nonlinear thinking can make them seem unpredictable or even strange to others. They might not be able to explain how they came to a conclusion, only that it feels right. And when it turns out to be correct, people are often shocked. But for INFJs, this is just how their brain works. It doesn't follow the usual rules. This kind of pattern recognition, abstract association, and intuitive insight is commonly seen in neurodivergent minds. People with autism, for example, are often able to see big-picture systems or hidden logic behind emotional behavior. People with ADHD may jump quickly between thoughts in a way that seems scattered to others, but leads to brilliant ideas. INFJs share some of these traits, especially when it comes to how fast and deeply they can connect the dots. They also tend to go deep instead of wide. Instead of skimming through lots of ideas, INFJs often focus intensely on one topic or one emotion at a time. They dive in until they've explored it from every angle. This kind of thinking is intense and internal. It's not easily shared, which can make them seem distant or hard to follow. At school or in group settings, this can be frustrating. While others are focused on getting the right answer quickly, INFJs are thinking about all the layers behind the question. They might struggle to explain what they're thinking in a simple way, even though their understanding is more complete than it seems. Teachers, classmates, or co-workers may mistake this for being slow or unsure, when it's really a deeper level of processing. This kind of mental wiring also explains why INFJs often feel misunderstood. They're not ignoring the world, they're processing it differently. And because that process isn't obvious, people don't always recognize the intelligence behind it. But once INFJs are given time and space, they often come out with insights no one else saw coming. This non-traditional cognitive approach is why many INFJs feel more at home with neurodivergent thinkers than with so-called normal ones. They speak the same mental language, just in a quieter, more internal way. Reason 2. Heightened sensory sensitivity. Another powerful sign that INFJs may be neurodivergent is how strongly they react to sensory input. Most people don't think twice about loud music, bright lights, or a scratchy fabric. But for many INFJs, these things can feel overwhelming or even painful. It's not about being dramatic, it's about being wired in a way that picks up more than most. This kind of sensory sensitivity isn't just emotional, it's physical. Some INFJs struggle in crowded places because of the noise, the lights, or the chaos of too many conversations happening at once. Others may get headaches from certain smells, or feel drained after being in environments full of visual clutter. This sensitivity can make normal life harder. Going to the mall, attending a loud party, or working in an open office can feel exhausting. And when this kind of stimulation goes on for too long, INFJs may start to shut down. Their mind and body just need a break. This kind of response is very similar to what's seen in people with sensory processing sensitivity or sensory integration disorder, both of which fall under the neurodivergent umbrella. These individuals aren't just sensitive. Their nervous systems literally take in more information and have a harder time filtering it. INFJs may not always realize this is happening. They just know they feel tired, irritable, or anxious after a certain kind of environment. And because they don't want to seem weak or rude, they often push through the discomfort until they hit a wall. That's when they suddenly disappear, cancel plans, or need to be completely alone. They also feel emotions physically. Stress can show up as a tight chest, sadness can feel like actual body weight, and happiness can flood their system so intensely that they get jittery or can't sleep. These physical emotional links are often seen in highly sensitive people, and they match many neurodivergent patterns. The result is a life that needs structure and recovery time. INFJs might avoid big events, stick to calming routines, or create a space that feels safe and quiet. This isn't them being antisocial, it's them protecting their system from burnout. In a world that rewards loud voices and fast pace, this sensitivity can be hard to explain. But for INFJs, it's real. It's how their brain and body take in the world. And understanding this part of their experience helps explain why so many INFJs feel disconnected from normal life. It was never built for their level of sensitivity. Reason 3. Deep empathy and emotional intensity. INFJs are known for their empathy. But it's not the casual kind. It's not just feeling bad for someone or offering support during hard times. INFJs feel with people. They take on the emotions of others like a sponge. If someone is anxious, the INFJ feels that anxiety. If someone is hurting, the INFJ feels that pain as if it were their own. This level of empathy is not common, and while it sounds like a gift, and it often is, it can also be draining. INFJs can't turn it off. They pick up on emotional shifts in a room. They can sense when someone's energy is off, even if that person says everything's fine. Their emotions aren't just their own. They carry the emotional weight of others. This type of deep emotional tracking has been linked to traits found in both highly sensitive people, HSPs, and those on the autism spectrum, both of which fall under the neurodivergent umbrella. These individuals often have emotional systems that are more reactive, more tuned in, and harder to regulate. INFJs show many of these signs. They may find themselves exhausted after simple social interactions. A short phone call with someone who's upset can leave them mentally drained for the rest of the day. Large crowds, intense conversations, or emotionally charged situations can feel like too much. Not because they don't care, but because they care too much, and their system struggles to manage that level of emotional data. This intense emotional connection also shows up in how they relate to stories, art, or music. INFJs don't just enjoy things, they feel them. A piece of music might bring them to tears. A line in a movie might echo in their head for weeks. A single conversation can change how they view themselves or the world. They live life emotionally and deeply. But this depth has a cost. Many INFJs experience emotional overload. When they're carrying too much, they may shut down, go silent, or disappear for a while. This isn't coldness, it's survival. It's the only way they know how to reset. This kind of emotional intensity doesn't match the emotional range of a neurotypical person. While most people can bounce back quickly from stress or emotion, INFJs often need hours or days to process. Their feelings are layered and complicated, and when those layers get too heavy, they pull back to protect their emotional system. That level of sensitivity, intensity, and empathy is not only uncommon, it's neurodivergent in nature. And it's one of the reasons why INFJs often feel like emotional outsiders, even in a room full of people who care. Reason 4. Preference for solitude and deep focus. INFJs are introverts, but their need for solitude goes deeper than just needing time alone. It's a requirement. It's the only way they can fully function. When an INFJ doesn't get enough alone time, their brain becomes cloudy. Their emotions become too loud, and they slowly start to shut down, mentally, physically, and emotionally. Many INFJs report that too much interaction, no matter how kind or enjoyable, feels like too much input. It's like their brain is always open, always taking things in. And eventually, they reach a point where they can't process anymore. That's when the need for solitude kicks in, not as a luxury, but as a survival tool. This intense need to step away mirrors the experience of many neurodivergent individuals. People on the autism spectrum or with sensory processing differences often need quiet, dark, or low-stimulation environments just to feel normal. INFJs show very similar patterns, even without a formal diagnosis. When they're alone, INFJs don't just bend, they go deep. They reflect on conversations, replay emotional exchanges, and sort through ideas. Their mind settles into a focused state where they can think clearly. Some of their best ideas come when they've been alone for a long time. This is where their intuition sharpens and their creative energy flows. They also work best this way. Group settings can feel distracting. Team meetings can feel overwhelming. INFJs do their best thinking when they can fully tune into one idea without interruption. It's not that they don't care about people, it's that too many voices at once overloads their system. This is why they often need to cancel plans, reschedule, or step away. It's not rudeness, it's how they manage energy. And when they ignore that need, they crash, emotionally or physically. This preference for solitude is so strong that INFJs may feel guilty about it. They might think they're being antisocial or selfish. But the truth is, they're managing a brain that takes in too much. And solitude is their way of filtering, healing, and refocusing. This isn't just personality, it's neurological. Their brain doesn't rest in groups. It rests in quiet. And that rest is what allows them to show up in the world with so much depth and care. Reason 5. Nonlinear creative expression, INFJs, are often described as creative, but their creativity isn't always obvious. It's not about painting or writing poetry, though many do. It's about the way they think. Their mind doesn't move in straight lines. It jumps. It loops. It spirals. They connect ideas that seem unrelated, and somehow, it all comes together in a way that surprises everyone, including themselves. This kind of thinking doesn't always fit into school systems or workplace routines. It's not easy to explain. INFJs might start one idea, get distracted by another, come back with a new insight, and build something powerful out of that mess. Their creative process looks messy on the outside, but it works. This is a trait shared by many neurodivergent thinkers. People with ADHD, autism, or dyslexia often create in nonlinear ways. Their minds skip the normal steps and land somewhere new. INFJs do this too. Their creativity feels random to others, but there's always a pattern underneath. They might get ideas in the shower, in the middle of a conversation, or while staring out a window. They're not forcing it. Their brain is always turning things over, working in the background. And when the idea is ready, it shows up fully formed. This makes INFJs excellent storytellers, problem solvers, and innovators. They don't need a formula. They need freedom. When they have space, their ideas come alive. This kind of mental freedom doesn't follow a checklist. It follows emotion, insight, vision, and that kind of creative intelligence is a sign that the INFJ brain doesn't work like everyone else's. It works better, just differently. Reason 6. Struggles with executive functioning. Despite their deep thinking and emotional intelligence, INFJs often struggle with everyday tasks, especially those that involve structure, planning, or follow-through. These challenges fall under something called executive functioning, and while it's not talked about much, many INFJs know exactly what this feels like. Executive functioning includes things like time management, organizing tasks, remembering details, and switching between activities. For INFJs, these areas can become a constant battle. They might have a brilliant idea but struggle to start. They might plan a project in their mind but get overwhelmed by where to begin. They may deeply care about something but miss deadlines because their brain shut down under pressure. It's not laziness. It's not procrastination. It's how their mind handles pressure. INFJs tend to focus on the big picture, on meaning, vision, and emotion. But when it comes to breaking things down into steps, especially boring or repetitive ones, their energy crashes. This often leads to frustration. INFJs want to do well. They have high standards for themselves. So when they forget appointments, miss small details, or feel frozen when faced with too many options, they blame themselves. But these patterns are very common in neurodivergent individuals, especially those with ADHD or anxiety-related brain wiring. INFJs may also experience time blindness. They lose track of how long something takes. A task they thought would take 10 minutes eats up their entire afternoon. Or they get so absorbed in one thing that they forget everything else around them. This intense focus is useful, but also part of the struggle. They're also prone to decision fatigue. INFJs overthink. They want to make the right choice, not just the easy one. But this can cause them to freeze, avoiding decisions until they feel completely drained. All of this points to a brain that works in deep waves, not fast, straight lines. And while that depth is powerful, it comes with challenges that match many neurodivergent profiles. INFJs are different, and that difference runs deeper than personality. The way they think, feel, process, and create points to a brain that doesn't follow the standard model. It follows its own rhythm. And that rhythm, while beautiful, is often misunderstood. From their intense emotional sensitivity to their unique pattern of thinking, INFJs move through the world like they're wired for something else. They absorb more, feel more, think more, and when that much information moves through one mind, it doesn't always translate well to the outside world. But that's not a flaw. That's neurodivergence. Whether or not an INFJ has a diagnosis doesn't matter. What matters is understanding that they may live life in a way that feels overwhelming, isolating, or simply different. They need more rest. They need more time to think. And they need space to process what others might ignore. That difference is hard, but it's also a gift. INFJs see what others can't. They create what others wouldn't think of. They hold the emotional depth that so many people need, but don't know how to reach. And in that difference lies their power. So if you're an INFJ, this message is for you. You're not broken. You're not too much. You're not lazy or weird or overly sensitive. You're wired differently, and that's exactly what makes you important.